The most impressive thing about De La Fuente in this match was not his biceps, but the ability to adapt his tactics to tear Italy apart. His Spain side is completely different from teams gone by, and this is how he used his new tactics to dominate Italy. To understand the adaptation, we need to look at two big ways he set up Spain initially. It was quite similar to how they began against Croatia, with the two centre-back system and Rodri for the most part being an isolated pivot, giving Ruiz and Pedri the freedom to drift around as a two ahead of him. In response, Italy were in a 4-4-2, and they were looking to be quite aggressive, so a midfield man would always be on the isolated Rodri as they tried to cut out Spain's metronome. Despite technically being 3 versus 2 down in the midfield, as a result of Barella pushing up to help press the centre-backs, even when Fabian Ruiz dropped deep to be the second pivot alongside Rodri, Italy were aggressive, as by cutting off these Spanish midfielders at source, they hoped to make it impossible for Spain to implement their passing game. But of course this left Pedri prowling between the lines, looking to find space between the midfield and defensive line as the third midfielder. But what Italy did so well in the first half was take calculated risks. So whenever Spain looked to find Pedri with a piercing pass in the first half, a centre-back would immediately jump to prevent him turning and trying to find a pass, and they were effective in doing so. This made passing their way through the centre extremely difficult for Spain. But luckily for Spain, their new approach meant that this was not a problem, as they have 1v1 masters in the wide regions. So both Carvajal and Cucurella would remain deep initially, looking to draw the wingers towards them, which would then free up the pass down the line for these isolations. And both Yamal and Williams were incredible in these situations, getting past their men almost at will, attempting 16 dribbles between them, with half of those being successful. And on more than a couple of occasions they were able to get into good crossing positions. But we also saw a lot of the patterns that Spain implemented in the first match, where Yamal would be the winger to hug the touchline, whilst it was Williams who would come infield, with Cucurella providing the width down the left. So if Chiesa did not track Cucurella, Di Lorenzo was 2 versus 1 down, and either he would be leaving Cucurella too much space to then look for the cross, but if he did close down Cucurella, now Williams had another 1 versus 1, but now against a less mobile centre-back, making it even more likely for him to get past his man and leave the remaining centre-back isolated, as we saw early in the game. So Italy began to adapt their shape, with Chiesa coming deep, and this is where De La Fuente's game-changing adaptations completely took the game away from Italy. The first was a subtle change that tweaked how Pedri and Morata operated. In the first half, it was too easy for the Italy centre-backs to close down Pedri, because the lateral and vertical distances between Morata and Pedri were just too big. But in the second half, Pedri and Morata operated in the same vertical space, so now when a centre-back looked to close down the dropping man, Spain were well positioned to immediately make the run into the space created now. But this was just the first and least consequential adaptation. This right here is the most important change that decided the match. As you can see, Carvajal... wait, actually you can't see because the video isn't available in your location, so you're going to have to skip this part of the video. Is what I would have said if not for Surfshark. Just a couple of clicks and it's taken care of. You've heard of Surfshark, and I've personally been using it for over 6 months. It's the best VPN and it'll improve your life in 2 ways. We know how broadcasters are, so sometimes you're traveling or living abroad and you want to watch a match in a certain league. Let's say the Premier League, but it's not available in your location. Well, with Surfshark, literally all you have to do is select the country you want your IP address to appear as, and boom, all of that content is now available to you. Or some companies use price discrimination, where the same product is cheaper in one country than another. Well, with Surfshark, you can simply switch your country and get a fair price. And let's be real, a lot of you love a suspicious stream so that you don't have to pay anything at all. Well, I can't advocate for that, but at least you could protect yourself from any malicious attacks and viruses, or attempts to steal your personal info that these streaming sites use. Surfshark will do this for you. The best part is that with my link down below and code FMS, you'll not only get 4 months of Surfshark free, you also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So try it. If it doesn't improve your life, you can get your money back. Link down below. So where early in the game Yamal hugged the touchline with Carvajal supporting, De La Fuente unleashed Carvajal's attacking instinct, and now he looked to make the overlapping run, which provided Spain with multiple options, as Yamal could then drift infield to look to create from these inside zones, as we saw with some of his mazy runs. But more importantly, as DeMarco was so accustomed to staying tight on him, when they were 1 versus 1, Yamal's movement infield created acres of space as he dragged DeMarco with him, and now Carvajal would be free to receive down the outside. But the game-winning adaptation came down the left. No longer was Williams starting inside, now he took on the role of being the winger who hugged the touchline. And crucially, Italy often looked to double-team him. And where on the opposite side, Carvajal was more passive when Yamal was wide, Cucurella instead took up this position infield. So when Italy were positioned here, it created the perfect opening for Cucurella to make incisive runs where he could be found, leading to dangerous shots. But of course, if Italy attempted to track the underlapping run, now they had the new problem of Williams actually getting the 1 versus 1 that he wanted, and he could then look to drift past his man, and we even saw this for the first goal. It's been an incredibly strong start for this new look Spain, but I'm curious to see how far you think they'll go, so comment down below. For the tactical score, despite the scoreline, it was very one-sided, and De La Fuente gets an 8.5 while Spalletti gets a 5. But drop your ratings down below. And don't forget to check out Surfshark using code FMS to get 4 months free and a 30-day money-back guarantee.